might not always think about it, but there's quite a few locations on video games that are actually real and not thought up by designers. Many of the strange locations you come across are designed from actual places around the globe. From the largest radio telescope in the world to places on our favorite Call of Duty multiplayer maps, here are 10 real-life video game locations. But first, thanks Pitch Yellow for leaving us this comment about what you thought is the strangest trend. We haven't seen a ton of those personally, but it doesn't sound like a great idea. Let us know about some of your favorite real-life video game locations in the comments section, and maybe we'll feature you in an upcoming video. Number 10. Goodsprings, Nevada. If you played Fallout New Vegas, you'll be familiar with this one, and maybe a couple others on this list. Goodsprings, Nevada is where your character begins in this thrilling game, and where it all starts. The character wakes up here after a robot saves his life. The little town in the Mojave Wasteland is quite similar in real life as well, featuring the Pioneer Saloon, the General Store, the elementary school, and the Goodsprings Cemetery. At one point in time, Goodsprings was a thriving mining town where gold was discovered back in the 1800s. It was also bigger than Las Vegas early on, and a popular place to spend mining profit. The Pioneer Saloon has been featured in countless movies for its authentic Western look, which it certainly displays. In the game, however, the cemetery is displayed on top of a hill, where in real life, the cemetery is at the base of a large desert hill. Only about an hour drive from Las Vegas, it's still considered to be a functioning ghost town, with the saloon being the main focal point. The rest of the town seems to be covered up in old mining debris or covered up with desert shrubs. There's even a few places you're allowed to legally urban explore without trespassing, but beware of the radscorpions and geckos. Number 9. The Duga radar installation. The Duga radar installation in the Chernobyl exclusion zone is an abandoned Soviet military project that is just completely massive. Does this look familiar to anyone? Well, it should if you played Call of Duty Black Ops. This location was featured in the multiplayer entitled The Grid. It was constructed in order to detect enemy aircraft missiles or other objects before they were able to fly into Russia. The radio waves this thing was able to give off would lead to mysterious noises being heard on shortwave radios. This gave it the nickname of the woodpecker because of the tapping noises. Several countries complained about it but had no idea where it was coming from. The extreme height of the radar system would allow it to send back intel from as far away as the United Kingdom. It was powered by the Chernobyl power plant, which many of you might have heard about already. Some believe that the massive amount of electricity needed to power this thing was what caused the infamous meltdown that led to the entire area becoming abandoned. Today, it pretty much stands in a contaminated area as a monument of paranoia during the Cold War. Number 8. Grand Theft Auto 5. Grand Theft Auto 5 is another sandbox game that features incredibly accurate details with its map and location. This realistic game sold 21.3 million copies, by nearly doubling the copies the second-place game sold. The Los Santos area features real-life areas that might have slightly changed so it would fit GTA style. Here in this cut screen, we see the similarities between the real Hollywood sign and the Vinewood sign from the game. Notice how the details, especially the shades of the green from the mountain they used, were similar. The Del Perro Pier and the Santa Monica Pier show quite a bit of resemblance when you see the cut screen from this angle. It shows the game scene on the left and the real-life scene on the right. The similarities don't just stop with Los Santos and LA. As you explore the map, there seems to be a lot in common with the Alamo Sea and the Salton Sea in this game. It seems like the entire game is basically made up of real places, with some Easter eggs hidden every now and then. Number 7. Ventspils Radio Telescope. If we had to take a wild guess where the array level from Call of Duty Black Ops takes place, we'd have to say the Ventspils Radio Telescope in Latvia. You can tell there's quite a few things in common. Other sources claim that it's actually somewhere called Mount Yamanto, where secret Soviet facilities were constructed at the peak of the Ural Mountains. But no one can really be too sure because everything that goes on here is of course top secret. Plus there's no clear signs of any radio telescopes from Google Maps. That's what American Eye is claiming anyways. The Soviet Union had a few tricks up their sleeve when it came to conducting espionage on Western Europe. The radio telescope we see in Latvia remained top secret when it was constructed in 1974 out of 600 tons of material by the Ukrainian Navy. This would be used to pick up radio signals from NATO and for covert eavesdropping operations. This is found in western Latvia, right off the coast of the Baltic Sea. When Latvia gained their independence, the Soviets tried their best to destroy it as much as possible, but Latvian scholars were able to restore much of it so they can continue studying astronomy. Number 6. Old Mormon Fort. So Mormons were first in Las Vegas? What? That makes a lot of sense, right? When you were playing Fallout 3 and came across the old Mormon Fort, you were probably curious, what's a Mormon Fort doing in Sin City? In the game, this was used as an outpost for the followers of the apocalypse as a headquarters for their operations. This building really does exist and is found in the downtown area of Las Vegas. It's considered to be a historic state park because it was the first permanent non-native settlement. The area was fed with natural springs, which made it a sought-after land by native Paiute tribes, traders, and pioneers looking to get rich out west. In order for the Mormons to make this a permanent settlement, they needed to construct adobe walls to protect themselves from others looking to gain access to the springs. The Mormon missionaries constructed this along the spring-fed creek, which gave them excellent access to valuable water, which doesn't come too often in the Mojave Desert. It's currently being held with the utmost care, housing artifacts from the origins of Las Vegas. Number 5. The Clown Motel. Possibly one of the creepier levels in the Call of Duty Advanced Warfare game, this motel is certainly real, unfortunately. This is located in the tiny little town of Tonopah, which is found between Las Vegas and Reno, and mainly caters to truckers or people who must not be completely terrified of clowns. Another reason the town motel is a tad unsettling is due to its proximity to a cemetery. It was even featured on an episode of Ghost Adventures because people experience supernatural events here and they think the cemetery haunts the people at the motel. Inside the motel, you'll notice tons of clown figurines and even this clown plaque on the door as you enter the room. But only enter if you dare. The map in Call of Duty is probably just a tad more colorful than in real life, and it would be a smart idea just to stay away. Number 4. Fast Telescope. This massive observatory is set up in China in Battlefield 4, and it seems to resemble the Arecibo Observatory in Puerto Rico. The giant radio telescope in Puerto Rico was the largest single aperture telescope when it was completed in 1963 until 2016. Finally, the FAST telescope just opened up, and they're ready to start scanning the skies for otherworldly objects. FAST stands for 500-meter Aperture Spherical Telescope. Located in southwest China, it measures 500 meters wide. That's about 5 football fields. The larger the dish means more radio waves it can collect, meaning more data can be processed with better reception. It's searching for signs of extraterrestrial communication and intelligence, and it seems as though it will be the best structure of its kind for the next 20 to 30 years. This massive dish looks like it could pick up some really good sports channels from another galaxy. Others are quite certain that no one can possibly exceed these record-setting dimensions, but we'll certainly see about that. Americans don't want to be number 2, especially when they're behind China. In Battlefield 4, a theoretical battle breaks out between the Chinese and the Russians for control over this. If the Chinese did find signs of extraterrestrial life, would they let us know about it? Number 3. Dark Souls 3. If you're familiar with the role-playing game Dark Souls, you'll notice there are a few real-life locations. It won the Game of the Year in the 2016 Golden Joystick Awards and had one of the most successful first-day sales in the history of PC gaming. It managed to sell 3 million copies worldwide in just 3 months. There is an area in the game which is called Los Izalith. This area in the game often features overgrown roots, which are very similar to Angkor Wat. This massive complex takes up 4 square kilometers and used 5 million tons of sandstone. Over 300,000 workers accompanied by 6,000 elephants were needed to construct this wonder sometime around the end of the 12th century AD. It was built by King Serva-Varman II of the Khmer Empire, and before he passed away, it served as his monastery. In other cases, the Milan Cathedral is displayed quite often in this game, also known as Duomo di Milano. Number 2. Kirat. Although it's unclear if the villages within the map are modeled after real places, it's quite clear that Kirat is a reference to Nepal. Kirat is clearly fighting for their independence, similar to how we saw a civil war that took place in Nepal. Although it's a fictional country, it's quite clear that it's located in the Himalayas, and the historical similarities throughout the game seem to point it to being Nepal. This can also be seen with them explaining the tea industry and how they used to be ruled by the British, which was also, coincidentally, the history of the Himalayas. All the animals that are encountered by Jason are found in Nepal. Although some might see some similarities with China and Tibet, the story is portraying the Communist Party versus the monarchy, which is all based on true events of Nepal. It seems as though Jason comes to Kirat while all this is going on and sides with the monarchy. We don't want to give away any spoilers, but obviously the ending isn't the same in the game as what happens in real life. And number 1, Nuketown, USA. It's the favorite multiplayer game on Call of Duty, and if it comes up on your screen, you normally vote for it instantly. Originally appearing in Call of Duty Black Ops, this level is quite legendary, and there have been even paintball courses recreated in precise detail of this map. But Nuketowns were all too real, and although it might not exist right now, at one point it did. The video game designer saw a scene from an Indiana Jones movie where Indiana enters a small town that he thinks is real. But it turns out he's on a nuclear test site and everything around him is getting ready to be blown to pieces. The residents of the town were all mannequins, and the colors from the movie closely matched the colors from the video game level as well. Nuketowns were modeled in order to look like American towns and were certainly built at the Nevada Proving Grounds in the 1950s and 60s. This photo here shows a realistic mannequin family that was set up in a small replica town to test out the effectiveness of some of the most powerful bombs ever dropped.